Welcome to Democracy-ish. It's been a long fucking week and I'm exhausted. And Waj just broke more news to me before I could even put up our slides for today. I'm Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajat Ali, and it's snowing in Virginia, and may the snow cleanse the shit that is the Trump administration and its horrific policies right here in DC. And the news that I was sharing with Danielle as we talk about a dying Donald Trump doubling down on hate and the worst policies. And speaking about dying, is that the CDC, which is now run by RFK, a man who isn't a doctor and is an anti-vax crank, Danielle, a CDC panel is now recommending delaying the birth dose of the hepatitis B vaccine. What will happen? It is a move that will literally kill children. It will make kids' liver cancer great again. And this is on top of them in certain states now saying, hey, you know those MMR vaccines that you and I used to routinely take in order to go to school? They're like, we don't need that anymore. So for those who don't follow, why is that a big deal? Because that kept people like me and Danielle free from measles. So now we've had a measles spike, and we have a bird flu case, and we have, God forbid, polio returning. And now, hey, let's just give kids some liver cancer. And my daughter survived liver cancer. She had hepatoblastoma, a rare cancer under the age of 3. You do not want your child to get liver cancer. Thank God my child is alive. She needed a full liver transplant. But what else is this, Danielle, except what I say, a pro-death march and a pro-death movement that doesn't give a shit about our kids?
But I think that we have to understand something really clear, right? Like, you and I do this job to bring attention to what they're doing and to connect the dots. And what we have to understand is that everything that the CDC is doing, right? Every vaccine they're removing, every warning that they are removing, understand that the wealthy, they have private doctors.
That's right.
The wealthy have private doctors. They will get their kids vaccinated. They will stay up on all of the shots, all of the things that need to happen and need to get done. And so you have to, as parents, and I know that I was speaking to parents earlier this week with young kids, and they said, it's already such a trying place to be as a parent, to do the right thing, the right food, give them this, don't give them that, this shot, that shot. And the fact that now we can't rely on the government to tell us what is right and what is wrong, and that, as a matter of fact, not only can we not rely on them, we can absolutely do the opposite of whatever it is that they're saying, knowing good goddamn well that they do not have our best interests at heart. Because this is part of, it is part of the eugenics plan. It is part of the survival of the fittest. It is part of their idea of zeroing out population groups, right? Because the wealthy will be able to have their private doctors have their shots. Those that don't, right? Their kids will get sick and die. Less people. They don't care. And I think that the more that we move from trying to convince people without hearts of having a moral center, of appealing to their morality, the more time we can spend in figuring out what actually needs to happen to remove these people, because there is no moral center. There is no bottom.
I absolutely agree. First of all, use the word eugenics. It's a word that you and I have used on the show many times because we have spent way too much time on the internet following these people, following their words. Elon Musk, RFK, Peter Thiel, others, they're into Nazi eugenics science. Look at how RFK talks about autistic people, right? The way he talks about them is that they're the most useless people who are incapable of doing anything. He's never met one person who can even hold a job, and he wants
Which is fascinating because he fucking talks to Elon Musk on a regular basis, and you know that he's on the fucking spectrum. And I do not say that as an insult. I say that as he is obviously, if you know anything about Asperger's and autism,
he's admitted it.
Obviously on the spectrum.
He's admitted it. This is out in the open, and he's also an immigrant from South Africa. I just want to remind people that Elon Musk is an immigrant. So they're all into eugenics. They want registries. Who else wanted registries of autistic people and people who they deemed to be sick? Nazis. We've already heard Elon Musk and the bro oligarchy say that they don't longer believe in humanity. They don't believe in Earth. So what are they doing is they want to breed white babies. Go look at Elon Musk's Twitter page the last 3 days. Obsessed with the birth rate, obsessed with white babies. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists are obsessed with declining white birth rate, right? So they want white babies. They want their seed to populate the Earth. And then once they develop their rocket technology, not making this up, folks, they believe they will restart humanity in their image on Mars. They're not interested in using their obscene, ungodly wealth of the wealthiest people on Earth to actually save the people, right? So a culling. The word is culling. They want to cull the weak.
Yep.
Cull all the people who aren't strong enough to survive, who can't survive.
No, not even strong enough to survive. I think strong enough to be the working class, right? The unpaid working class. Those that are sick, they will die. Those that are not sick, but people of color, they will imprison, and you will be bred in the way that they did during slavery. This is the same extension of what happened for over 200 years of enchattled slavery. It was, they used to have breeding farms.
That's right.
You take the healthiest, strongest black man and you breed them against their fucking will with the healthiest and strongest black woman. And that is how you produce your production force, right? That is what this country has done. That is what they are going to do again.
It's herd immunity. You heard this during COVID. Grandma and grandpa, hey, they've served their time. They've got to go. Remember that, folks? During the initial shutdown, Republicans are like, hey, open it up. Open it up. It's good for business. What about grandma and grandpa and those who are immunosuppressed? Well, grandma and grandpa, peace out. Remember last month when it came to, not even last month, 2 weeks ago when it came to Black Friday sales, they had the economist on Friday who was saying, grandma and grandpa, they don't need presents. They've had enough. You don't have to give them presents. It's that type of eugenics mindset. Thin out the herd, survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest. Whoever then survives becomes the worker force. Whoever's pure then becomes part of the special class of humans who then will live forever through transhumanism and go with us, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, the chosen genetics, to live on Mars. It's happening in real time with the CDC as we speak, folks. Eyes wide open.
Eyes wide open. So let's run through where things are right now, where they stand with the polls, right? So Politico. Americans continue to say affordability is out of control, and many have begun to blame Trump, a new political poll found. Almost half, 46%, say the U.S. cost of living is the worst they can remember it being, a view held by 37% of 2024 Trump voters. And Waj, I'm going to hand it over to you to give this breakdown of the one in five voters. Again, folks, they're looking at 2024, who voted for Donald Trump versus who voted for Harris, and where they think that this breakdown of the economy, who is responsible for it.
Yeah, so Politico came out with a piece yesterday, which the timing of it was exquisite because Donald Trump said affordability is a con. It's a con. And I know he's either dying or stupid or desperate because literally they've been following Mamdani's affordability messaging. And then once they realized, oh, wait, all of our plans suck, he did a complete 180 and said affordability is a con. And this poll was in Politico yesterday that's saying that most Americans actually want affordability, believe affordability is actually very important. And 1 in 5 Trump voters now think that the economy is his responsibility, right? That is wild, right? So if you're looking at this, Biden holds full responsibility. 37% of Trump voters say, yeah, that's true. Mainly Biden, some Trump, right? But if you look at Trump holds full responsibility, or mainly Trump, some Biden, that goes to 25%. And then if you even look at equally Biden and Trump, that's 25 plus 14. My math is terrible. That's 49%. So if you, no, 39%. So about 39% of Trump voters right now, folks, believe that Donald Trump is either equally, mostly, or completely responsible for the economy going into the shitter. And this is why we see his approval rating hovering around 36%. He's negative double digits on the economy, on trade, on inflation, on immigration. His one strong suit gone. He's negative 35 points on the Epstein files. The economy, by all metrics, is getting worse. And this guy, he says, well, okay, affordability, it's a con. And so that video and that clip of him saying affordability is a con, if Democrats were smart, Danielle, I would play that clip nonstop leading up to 2026 midterms.
I mean, because here's the other thing, right? Harry Enton. I play him all the time on the Danielle Moody Show, and I played this clip yesterday. You know, this is exactly what Waj is talking about. Trump says the discussion over affordability is a con job, but Americans disagree. And I'll play a piece of Harry Enton breaking down what it is that Americans actually care about.
As much as you want in Washington, D.C., but at the end of the day, it's the American people who make the ultimate decision at the ballot box, like they did last month in Virginia, in New Jersey. And this is what it's all about, baby. Google searches for affordability up 110% versus a year ago. More folks search for affordability in the last month than at any point since the Great Recession, all the way back in 2009. This is no con job. This is the American people going online, searching for affordability. It's the American people going to the ballot box, voting on affordability. They think it is an important issue to touch on. Donald Trump might want to make the argument it's a con job, but the American people don't think so.
When it comes to things like high prices, I mean, what is the top issue that Americans say they are facing, bar none?
Yeah, you named it. You named it. I mean, ta-da! It's the cost of living, most important to you right now, 36%. What's right behind it? The economy, 20%. And then I combined here healthcare or Medicare and Social Security right down there, number 3, 17%.
So, I mean, to me, when you look at this, right, because I'm about to show you what Donald Trump has been doing, right, as all of these conversations are happening, as all of these things are percolating, and people, I don't even know, Wash, how any Trump voter now, when we are coming up on almost a full year of this nightmare of Donald Trump's second regime, that you are looking at this and I just saw a report that said a majority of Americans spend their paycheck in 2 days. Every 2 weeks,
wow,
you get, if you are a person that gets paid every 2 weeks, a majority of Americans are spending their paycheck in 2 days. And it is not on luxury items. It is on trying to get as many groceries as possible, their utilities, their rent, or their mortgage. Only 28% of Americans have the ability when their paycheck comes to save. 28%. And so what is Donald Trump doing in the meantime? Like, what is Donald Trump up to?
Dying.
Resolving the underlying issues.
There are cameras here, folks.
President Trump.
Jake Tapper, though, will tell you, as he did this week, and say that, oh, that's totally and completely normal.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did. He's like, oh, it's normal for somebody of that age. I swear to God, I swear I never meet Jake Tapper walking on the street. I swear that we are never in Midtown Manhattan at the same time, because there is nothing that I would like to do more than curse him out, like to filth. And again,
can I say something about
please.
Jake Tapper real quick?
Go ahead.
Jake Tapper. All right. You know, my colleague at CNN, and I've never shared this before, but I'll share it because he's done so much damage. And people like him and his ilk, the corporate media, the establishment media, the people who don't care about anyone else but themselves, look at what damage they've done in the past 10 years. So Jake Tapper is notorious in the industry, that he will slide into your DMs if he perceives even a slight, if he perceives that you criticized him. So he has all this time, he just searches his name on Twitter, and then, I'm not making this up, but DMs you and whines and complains, right? So he's done this to a couple of people that I know, and then he finally did it to me, where he did some piece on John Kelly. Remember Kelly, who was the Donald Trump's first chief of staff?
Yeah.
Was a secretary, DHS secretary as well. And like General Kelly was like, critical of Trump. And I said something retweeting Tapper's post too little too late. Tapper's like, I thought it was very good. I don't know why people say this. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. So that's how fickle he is. He's notorious in the industry, number one. Number two is something I've never shared. I always had a spidey sense that when it came to my daughter's cancer, right? I was on CNN at the time, Danielle. And I know people, just follow me, folks. There were people who were very kind. Republicans, conservatives, people who hated me, who came out, sent prayers, promoted the thing. But there were a few people I can tell who were writing that, if you will, to promote themselves or help themselves, in the sense to make themselves seem humanitarian. Does that make sense? And I remember, and I'll give you two examples. I had a spidey sense with Jake, a spidey sense with him, because once she got her full liver transplant, someone mentioned it. I published it, and then he texted me, and he says, "Oh, I wish we were the first ones to break it." Which was a strange thing, because I had used they had allowed me to use certain shows and platforms to talk
Oh
about
my
everyone
God.
getting a liver. And I thanked him when he did it, right? Because he said, Waj, you're coming on my show. You spend the last minute to talk about Nuseba. But then he said that. It always was weird. And then a couple of months ago, as everyone was piling on Jake for literally the shameful book that he wrote with the Axios writer, right? He texts me, my daughter was also sick. And it reminded me of your daughter also. And I got the text, and I sat there thinking to myself, there's something that just seems gross to me about this, in the sense that, hey, remember when I helped your daughter? It's kind of like, hey, help me out right now. Don't
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's disgusting. I actually don't know what else to say about that. Thank you for sharing, because
But you know what I
just,
mean,
but
Danielle?
it's the people. I say this. It's the people that give you the ick,
The ick.
and you don't really know why and then it starts to reveal itself. And that is a person that gives you the ick. It isn't just and what you've offered is it isn't just the Biden bashing book. It isn't just his very one-sided bootlicking of MAGA. It is just a character flaw, right? And it's yes, exactly. Joanna, trust your spirit. Yes. It's one of those things where your spirit just does not connect with somebody else's, and you have that ugh. Yeah. That's Jake Tapper. Disgusting, but unsurprising. Speaking of disgusting. So I will say this. I went to bed last night very late, and I am not a late person. Unlike Waj, who sends text messages at midnight and emails at 1 a.m. when he's still working. I go to bed fairly early. Last night, I saw the news about the Supreme Court, and I don't know what it is about me, Waj, why I still have the ability to be disgusted, why I still have the ability to be surprised and shocked. I don't know if at this point, this is a good thing. But I was honestly beside myself last night. And folks, you can go to my Instagram and go to my Substack notes. And I wrote out this entire post about how America needs to wake the fuck up. And that we are in the midst of a coup. We are in the midst of a coup and a complete and total takeover of the United States. And in your mind, you got to abandon this idea that all coups start with violence, because they don't, right?
That's right.
They start when the people become complacent and allow for those that are grifters and liars and thieves and immoral and unpatriotic people to take over your country, because you can't be bothered, right, with paying attention and electing officials and holding them accountable. And so here is this Supreme Court. Donald Trump, because of the election of 2016, because white women could not be bothered to vote for another white woman, because people thought that Donald Trump saying grab them by the pussy was just locker room talk, because people wanted a reality TV star, because you're so obsessed with celebrity and fucking wealth, and you thought he's a business guy, he can lead us forward. He got not one, not two, but 3 fucking Supreme Court seats. No other president has ever had that. 3 Supreme Court seats. And because of that, he has solidified a MAGA majority for the rest of our natural born fucking lives.
Yep.
And yesterday, the Supreme Court then decided to rebuke the lower court's decision and allow for Texas to move forward with the 2026 gerrymandered, racialized fucking map that wipes out Black representation and Latino representation in the state. And it, for me, was sick, sickening, sick. And I'm just like, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take.
You know what? I wasn't as shocked and surprised because I'm not shocked and surprised by the Supreme Court, because I know exactly what they are: right-wing hacks in black robes, groomed by the Federalist and right-wing money to do exactly this job. And furthermore, I expected this because after the ruling, which was a year and a half ago, Trump versus the United States of America, where they gave Trump, let's be honest, not all presidents, Trump absolute immunity to essentially commit crimes, right? Get out of jail free card. That went even beyond what I thought they would have done, Danielle. And once I saw that, I'm like, oh, they're going all out. And, you know, furthermore, the tip of the hat where they showed you who they were was January 6th insurrection, where Samuel Alito's wife flew not just 1, but 2 flags associated with the insurrection at 2 different properties. And Justice Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, sent supportive messages to Mark Meadows promoting the insurrection. What more do you all need to hear and see? So what I've been saying for a couple of years is, Democrats, the water is warm here. Run on expanding the court. Run on reforming the court, right? If you proactively message and connect the dots, you can actually rile up the base. But Democrats, because they're I know some of you are hardcore Democrats. I'm going to, listen, we try to be fair. The establishment Democrats, spineless, weak, terrified of their own shadow because their shadow's black, Republican light on immigration, Republican light on crime, have thrown Muslims under the bus, transgender people under the bus, immigrants are on the bus. We'll bring receipts later. What happened when it came to Supreme Court reform? No, we can't do that. Remember that, Danielle?
Yep.
In the final month of Biden's lame duck presidency, then he sets out that memo of 4 points, but I think he leaves out expanding the court. And then we're like, finally, you did this when you literally have no power. Like, what more do you need to see? This Supreme Court is rigged against you. They're the same ones who, through the emergency docket, much like now, have essentially rubber stamped every single one of Donald Trump's requests. The only 2 times they went against him is, they're smart, when Ghislaine Maxwell appealed to them for pardoning. They're like, nah. And then the other time was when Stephen Miller in the summer said, I get to use the Alien Enemies Act. And they're like, nah. But other than that, you can use racial profiling to go after brown and black people in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The president has the power to dismantle congressionally approved departments. But Biden, he can't, forgive us for student loan. That's an overreach. Like, again and again and again, Danielle. And look, I think the reason why this is good, I know it's terrible, folks, but the reason why it's good, they're showing their ass. The hoods are off. Here are these district judges doing the God's work and America's work by following the Constitution with these highly detailed, like several 100-page rulings. And within a stroke of a pen through the emergency docket, you're seeing these hacks undo it based on what? A whim. And now it's become so egregious, Danielle, so infuriating that what you and I have been saying for a while, Americans are like, F this. And I believe, like I said that yesterday, I said, the water is warm. Democratic fighters need to run on expanding the court. What more do you need to see? And I'll say this, I'll end on my little rant on this, is when FDR threatened to expand the court back when he was trying to push the New Deal, the recalcitrant court, guess what they did? They bent the knee. Without accountability, these mother effers won't do anything. How much more are Democrats going to take? How much more are the American people going to take?
But that, to me, is the question. The question is, how much more are the people going to take? Like, what is it going to take for Americans to realize that the institutions are not holding, that they are actually folding, that everyone, I mean, we talked at the top of the show, you're talking about your health now being at risk, right? They are going to ensure that you remain sick. You're looking at the economy. They're going to ensure that you remain broke. You look at the justice system. They're going to make you, your very presence, illegal, right? Right? Criminal, in order to feed their insatiable need for oppression and subjugation. And it's like, I feel like we continue to talk about this in comparison. And I did this yesterday, Waj, because I couldn't remember where the floating jail was in Andor, right? And
Yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that, like, they were in this prison. They changed the laws to make everything, like the smallest infractions, now having these life sentences.
Yep.
Why? Because they needed the workers in
Yep.
order to quickly make the parts that were necessary for the Death Star. And I'm saying, remove the Death Star, but think about why you would need to change laws in order to make our very presence criminal, so that you can have an enslaved population that you don't have to pay benefits, you don't have to care for. And if they die, they die. Who gives a shit? They're criminals, right? Like, this is the mentality. This is what they have been working on and concocting and building up. And they start with the immigrants and then they move to everybody else.
That's right. That's right. Thank God there's dissent. This dissent is now just for posterity. It's the 3 women on the Supreme Court. Of course.
I have it. You can
go
read
for it. No, go for it. Go for
Okay.
it.
So here is the dissent that was written by Kagan, Justice Kagan. This court reverses that judgment based on its perusal over a holiday weekend of a cold paper record. We are a higher court than the district court, but we are not a better one when it comes to making such a fact-based decision. That is why we are supposed to use a clear error standard of review, why we are supposed to uphold the district court's decision that race-based line drawing occurred, even if we would have ruled differently, so long as it is plausible. Without so much as a word about the standard, this court today announces that Texas may run next year's elections with a map the district court found to have violated all our oft-repeated scriptures about the use of race in districting. Today's order disrespects the work of a district court that did everything one could ask to carry out its charge, that put aside every consideration except getting the issue before it right. And today's order disserves the millions of Texans whom the district court found were assigned to their new districts based on their race. Because this court's precedents and our Constitution demand better, I would respectfully dissent.
Dope.
I mean, look, the dissent, to me, fantastic. They all are always fantastic. But at the end of the day, we cannot understate how corrupt this court is.
That's right.
What she just said is that we are supposed to do our due diligence. We did not even give this consideration, because what I've said for so long, Waj, you don't even need to present to the Supreme Court anymore, because the decision has already been made. I don't even know why we go with the pageantry of here, let's hear this before the Supreme Court, opening statements, and then we'll go make a decision. They've made the decision when they see who's on the docket and who is backing it. So what is the point?
Yeah, it's they do this to the emergency docket in secrecy. They don't even have to explain themselves. They rubber stamp it. Sotomayor said that this Supreme Court has the administration on, what do you call it? Rotodial? When it's, I'm forgetting the exact word, but that's what she said, which was also very stinging. Now they're just doing it for posterity. And they're doing it so future generations know that at least there were 3 people who stood up for the rule of law and the truth. But I'm sorry, I know some people hate this, the timid, feckless, ballless establishment Democrats still, even after this, won't touch reformation. They want restoration. It's too much. It's too much. What more do you need to see? It is a rogue Supreme Court filled with right-wing hacks in service of an insurrectionist president, where literally at least two of them, but pretty much I'm sure all the six MAGA judges are white nationalists and white Christian nationalists, I should say, and they're not going to change. And without any accountability, they're like, it's like the Hamburglar, literally going in broad daylight, stealing hamburgers, and then looking at the camera and waving, and then you're like, maybe he'll stop one day. You know, we'll ask him next. Chuck Schumer says, I'll ask him not to do that, and I'll ask him to follow the Constitution. The hamburger's like, no, I'm just going to go steal some more hamburgers. That's what we're dealing with the Supreme Court. And I think I hope this is so egregious that finally it tips it over. All the moderates who said, you can't expand the court, you can't reform it, you can't do it. Why can't you do it? Say it. Literally, if I was the next Democrat, I would say this Supreme Court is flawed. The Supreme Court is corrupt. I'd bring the receipts, and then I'd message like Mamdani message. And like you said on affordability, he kept talking about it. He messaged on it. Now look, Danielle, it's the #1 search topic, more so ever since 2009 economic recession.
Yeah. And then, again, how much more will we take? How much more, right? So let's go to the top of the week with the corruption of the week, which are the war crimes that are being committed by the Department of Defense at the direction of a alleged alcoholic womanizer piece of shit, right? White nationalist. Signalgate IG report is officially out. It is incredibly damning for Hegseth. I am so tired of hearing the phrase damning for Hegseth, knowing that he's not going any fucking where. If you only have 1 minute, read this section on page 25. Hegseth jeopardized the mission. He put U.S. pilots' lives at risk, then blatantly lied and cover it up. Fire Hegseth. And basically what it says is that what was found is that with his signal fucking chats, that he put the lives of those pilots, of our military, at risk because he needed to show what a big bad man he was to his fucking wife and to his fucking friend. And that's what he did. He is so incompetent, so fucking stupid. And this is the man that is leading our military. Will anything happen to him? Probably not. And right, again, the conversation, the controversy around the fact that there were two men clinging to life on a destroyed boat, capsized boat. Members of Congress watched that video this week, Waj, and their outrage depended on whether they had a D or an R behind their name. So again, two men killed as they floated, holding on to their capsized boat, did not appear to have radio or other communications devices, the top military official overseeing the strike told lawmakers. I can tell you, for me, do you know what it sounds like? I thought they had a gun. But it was a cell phone. I thought that they had a gun, but it was a bag of Skittles. I thought that they were dangerous, but they were wearing a hood. I feared for my life, even though I'm using a drone.
This is going to be a huge scandal. I'm glad we're finally talking about it. You and I have been talking about Venezuela and this extrajudicial assassinations since they've been happening. I'm glad finally Americans are waking up to it. I don't think they can escape this, because Representative Himes came out yesterday. Apparently they have video, and the video shows that for 41 minutes, folks, just listen to this, just the depths of their cruelty. These broken, weak, fragile men, Hegseth and Trump and even Rubio, just useless reek Rubio. They saw a video of these two fishermen, these sailors, hanging on for dear life to the side of this boat that even the first strike was illegal. Everyone's talking about the second double tap. I'm like, the first strike was illegal, right? Because folks, think about it. We have a process. We have a Navy. We have a Coast Guard. If you are a suspected drug trafficker or smuggler, or I don't know, there's suspicion, what happens? We spend more on our military than like the next 8 countries combined. You could be, it's like that movie Captain Phillips, which I always thought was hilarious. Like these 3 emaciated Somalis on a boat, and there were like 4 naval like warships surrounding them. Remember that movie? I always thought that was funny, but I digress. So it's like that. You could literally have all these Navy boats surround them. You can blow out the motor. You can board the ship. What did they do? They didn't do anything. They struck him. And then as 2 men were holding on for dear life for 41 minutes, these alpha men were debating for 41 minutes what to do, and that's when the order came allegedly from Hegseth to kill them all. And now he's blaming the admiral. So the reason why I'm going into that detail is just think about the cruelty. That is, folks, that is textbook. They teach them. That is textbook definition of a war crime. To kill an unarmed sailor who poses no threat in open water is a textbook definition that they teach them of a war crime. That's what happened. And I want to just really quickly go through the stories. First, Pete Hegseth, cosplay crusader is what I call him, comes out and brags, right? Remember when they did that meeting and him and Trump came out and pretty much told, listen to what they said. Hey, military, don't be gay. That's pretty much what they said. Don't be gay. Yeah, be men like us.
We're warriors.
Yeah, be warriors. Don't be gay and don't be a woman. And the women who are here, be a man. And then they came out and they bragged, thumping their chest about getting all these drug dealers, smugglers. They owned it, right? Yeah, kill them all. And then people are like, yo, Hegseth, I think you should roll back on that because I think you committed a war crime. Then he's like, it wasn't me. It was the admiral. And then it was, I gave the first order, but then I left the room. And then he said,
because he had other things to do.
And the fog of war. Yeah, and for the fog of war happens. And then, folks, 2 days ago, Judge Napolitano, who was a colleague of Pete Hegseth on Fox News, because this mother effer for 10 years was a Fox News host, also an alcoholic, also an abuser of women, according to his own mother. Go read the email his mother wrote to him. May you live your life where your mother never sends you this type of email. Folks, it's right there. Read the email. This is the type of shit that he is, a piece of shit that his mom even calls him, an abuser of women and a liar, right? But this guy is now so in it that Judge Napolitano on Fox said, I've known Pete for 8 to 9 years. This is a war crime. I think they're stuck on this. My question is, who does Trump throw under the bus? I don't think he'll throw Hegseth or Patel or Pam Bondi under the bus because they're loyalists and they're desperate.
Don't think so. He just fucking posted this yesterday. Like, again, this is not a person or a regime that has any self-reflection, has any ability to reflect and say, oh, maybe we pull back on this one. No, they are doubling and tripling down. Have you ever, in any other administration that you have followed, Waj, and anyone and folks that are watching, do you ever remember the Secretary of Defense ever on fucking social media, ever going on television on a regular basis to talk about their war plans? Ever? No, because the job requires discretion. The job requires, right, an even, cool hand, not a cosplaying alcoholic piece of shit thumping around.
Well, they share their war plans on an unsecure app Signal, and they invite the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg. So I don't think discretion is the.
It's not
their priority or how they operate. And this is what happens when you have a reality TV show president with a reality TV show administration, where they spend most of their time tweeting, shit posting, appearing on podcast, and if I may,
getting their makeup done, because that's why he had to have a special room put into the fucking Pentagon next to his office so that he could always be camera ready.
Very masculine. That's what real men do. And speaking about real men, Kash Patel, I have to do this because this just came out a couple hours ago. Kash Patel, it's leaking from within the FBI, and they deliberately leaked this for maximum humiliation against Kash Patel because all these men are deeply...
Is it the jacket?
Well, there's another one that came out right now. Deeply insecure men, right? So this was very deliberately done by the FBI because they know how insecure, homophobic, misogynist they are, is that Kash Patel, who has now been described as rudderless, paralyzed with fear, incompetent. They call him, this is so good, the Make-A-Wish FBI director. He did not deboard the plane until he had an FBI jacket. So the only jacket they could find was a medium woman's FBI jacket. Now, there's nothing wrong with wearing a medium woman's FBI jacket. I wouldn't care. Daniel wouldn't care. But that's exquisite detail was leaked for maximum humiliation. And speaking about Kash Patel, speaking about how incompetent they are, speaking about how corrupt these people are, this just came out a couple hours ago, 3 hours ago. Exclusive. FBI Director Kash Patel has, on more than one occasion, ordered that the security detail protecting his girlfriend escort, ordered that
his girlfriend escort.
No. I'll go back. Ordered that the security detail protecting his girlfriend, escort one of her allegedly inebriated friends home after a night of partying in Nashville, according to 3 people with knowledge of the incidents. So in addition to using to taxpayer dollars and a private jet to party with his girlfriend, now he's using our taxpayer dollars to use his security detail to protect his girlfriend's inebriated friend and take her home from a night of partying. Danielle, this came out 3 hours ago.
Yeah. Spring. Wow. Thank you so much. People saying it was a Freudian slip, but I'm just like, no, we all know what Kash Patel looks like. We all know what he sounds like. We all know the woman that he is supposedly dating and what she looks like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you need the comma.
I'm a real life FBI agent.
I don't think you needed the comma with
I'm gonna go to Valhalla. Sorry. Your wish is my command.
Oh God!
Never say I don't listen to the people.
Right, that I don't listen to the people and give the people what they want. And so you would think, folks, given all that we've said, all that we've laid out for the past 40 minutes, that there would again be this moment where you would self-fucking reflect, where you would say, maybe, just maybe, we need to do something differently as MAGA. We're losing these elections, these special elections. We're wearing down our double-digit Trump lead that we had in Tennessee. Nope. They've decided to double down and go now, I guess, the new name, Ultra MAGA, right? They're going Ultra MAGA. So what does that look like? Well, confronted with growing string of GOP underperformances in off-year elections, key pro-Trump activists see more MAGA, not less, as the only solution.
There you go.
Kind of like the final solution. The reaction suggests a movement uninterested in grappling with the limits of its appeal, a departure from the panicked introspection both parties have traditionally undergone after off-year disappointments. Yes, it's common for one flank of a party to argue that failed or underperforming candidates didn't devote enough attention to its preferred policies, but MAGA is no longer just a wing of the GOP. It's the party's main engine. I want to get your thoughts here, Waj, on this idea of doubling down and why you think that they're doubling down.
I'm not surprised. We've talked about it on this show before because we've been following these people and our eyes are wide open. And I think it's because you're a Black woman and I'm a Muslim brown man. We know who these people are, what they're capable of. We took them literally and seriously for the past 10 years. They are white nationalists. They are racists. Why use multiple words when you can just use one? Racist. And this country and its establishment refused to acknowledge and confront the racism of Trump, which was his #1 appeal. They refused to confront white supremacy, which we've always said is one of the main enduring sins of America. The other one is capitalism. Voila. Now affordability is in the news. And they coddled it. They whitewashed it. They called it economic anxiety. They called it racial trip up, Daniel. They called it racial flare up. Just a couple of months ago, Charlie Kirk did politics the right way because they don't want reformation. They don't want revolution. They want restoration. The Ezra Kleins and all the other white establishment folks who were war hawks and perfectly fine genociding Palestinians, right? It protects them. It protects their children. It protects their wife. It protects their paycheck. They can feather their nest this way. I'm just being blunt, which is why for 10 years, Donald Trump, literally when he descended the escalator and announced he was running for president, he shit on Mexicans, calls them rapists and criminals. He said in his first term, we come from shithole countries. Leading up to the election, Muslim ban. In his first term, he stood there in his rally, send them back, send them back, send them back, talking about the squad, saying that they're not Americans. This is a man who said that people like you and me come from shithole countries. Why can't we come from Norway? This is who they are. Their end game has always been white supremacy. They've gone all in. They have nothing left. That's what we said in the 2018 midterms when the economy was really good. Donald Trump, if he was like a normal person, if this movement was normal and not racist, what would they have done? Economy's great, vote for me. What did they do instead? Invasion, invasion, invasion. Caravan of invaders. White supremacist talking points of the replacement theory. The invaders are coming. And as a result of mainstreaming neo-Nazi conspiracies such as replacement theory and QAnon, people committed violence. They doubled down on it. Leading up to the 2024 election, who do we pick on now? Haitians. Let's repeat and promote a neo-Nazi lie that the Wall Street Journal said that J.D. Vance and Trump and Republicans were told it was a lie about Haitians eating dogs and pets. They said, we don't care. It works with our base. They went double down on it. The Patriot Front and these Nazis then started like marching in Springfield, Ohio. These poor Haitians now are leaving. They said, oh, that worked. Let's go against the Afghans. We have our Ragstag Fire, an Afghan national. And now they're like, oh, Somalis. And the type of folks, I've been in this game for a while. I've been following Islamophobia and extremism for years. The anti-Muslim rhetoric, the anti-immigrant rhetoric, I say this without hyperbole, Danielle, is the worst I've ever seen it. It's even worse than 9/11, after 9/11, because after 9/11, there was at least performative niceties. George W. Bush, who's a war criminal, came out, remember this, Danielle, and said, you know, our war is not with Islam. Our war is not with Muslims. We're peaceful in America. You know, we want you to stay here. Our war is with radical Islam. You all remember that?
Yep.
If George W. Bush ran as a Republican in 2025, he'd be rejected as a Muslim lover. They are, I'm going to use this word very deliberately, folks, because we have to use the words that actually describe the situation. There's no need to play taboo. They've gone full Nazi. They've gone full white nationalist. Danielle and I, for 3 years on this show, have been telling you the end game. Our colleagues who are the moderates and the ones who are respectable and the ones who are establishment say that we're hysterical. We're race baiters, right, Danielle? We're reactionary. We're crazy. Danielle, if you can, please give evidence to what I just said.
So here is, again, for the second time, the official account of Homeland Security using a racist Nazi phrase, remigration now. They write, the stakes have never been higher and the goal has never been more clear. Remigration now. And I want to say this above that. Nazi ideology and more recently a violent conspiracy theory that's inspired terrorist attacks in the United States and abroad. Here's what we know. A brief dark history of a loaded word. Extremism expert Cynthia Miller Idris was researching Nazi iconography for her 2019 book when she said she came across the image that made her pause. And again, she goes into what it is that she has seen. Remigration. There are a solution to remigrate Jews to Madagascar. Indeed, Adolf Hitler weighted multiple remigration policies and other anti-Semitic proposals before arriving at his final devastating solution to the Jewish question. It is Nazi terminology.
Ethnic
Just like
cleansing.
It's
a synonym for ethnic cleansing.
Just like, again, the SS on Pete Hegseth's nameplate during the cabinet meeting in which Donald Trump fell asleep multiple times. It was not a typo. It was a hat tip to Nazism, the double bolt, right? Like,
well, let me give you one more that everyone's forgotten about. Last week, the Coast Guard tried for 2 days to make a noose, a Confederate flag, and a swastika not symbols of hate. And then a day and a half later, they had to backtrack on it. Paul Ingrassia, who was charged by Donald Trump to lead a watchdog, was removed after a text showed that he said, "I have a Nazi streak." The Telegram post, 2,900 pages of young Republican leaders in their 30s and 20s. What do they say? "I love Hitler." 1488, the code for white supremacy, saying rape is epic. All right. The last 2 weeks, you've had Don Jr., Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's Jewish wife, Donald Trump, literally given opportunities to reject Nick Fuentes. None of them have. They've embraced him, right? What more do people need to see? And then in the past week, just this week, the stuff they're seeing against Somalis, against Muslims, they're openly saying remigrate, send them all back. And the reason why they've been triggered about me for the past week now, the entirety of the right wing, Danielle, has come after me for the past week because I've been following them. I played Bugs Bunny and used the language to needle at them. You know, I said stuff like Stephen Miller said, the worst thing that's ever happened in this country is the 1965 Immigration Nationality Act. So I said, thank you for the Nationality Act that allowed me and people like Danielle to come to this country. They're a breeding people. I'm like, yep, just like everyone else, we breed. There's a lot of us. And then I said, we're not going back. They're also the name of my book. And what are they saying? Go back, go back, go back. They've gone all in, Danielle. I don't know if you followed. This is not just the fringe anymore. I'm talking about top down, from the administration down.
Look, we're gonna run through this because
we're not gonna play the video.
We're not gonna play the video. We have 10 minutes because I'm not playing racism. But here is on Piers Morgan's show. Valentina. I don't know who she is. Who is she?
She's a complete freak nut running for office as a Republican, I think in Florida. She's an immigrant born in Colombia.
Right.
Nut,
yeah.
Total nut.
So here she is running. She's a candidate running for office in the Republican Party. All Muslims are terrorists. She says this on national television. Piers Morgan, UK and US illegally invaded Iraq in 2003. So what do you say about that? Valentina, Muslims are killing Christians in Nigeria. Piers, I didn't ask you about Nigeria. I asked you about Iraq. I was 4 years old at the time. Doesn't stop you from being a racist. Here is Congressman Randy Fine, who is currently in office. Here is a video of a group of Muslim men in New York City in the midst of a call to prayer, right? At 5 a.m. in the morning. It is a sight of men praying together in the morning. I can think of nothing wrong with this picture at all. This is what a congressman says. The barbarians are no longer outside the gate. They're inside. This is happening in Brooklyn, New York. Well, guess what, Congressman? You're not from Brooklyn, New York. And I swear to God, don't ever fucking step foot here. Like, you're not welcome. Okay? So when we look at all of this, you know, when we look at all of this, it paints a picture that is so obvious, that is so clear. We don't have to try and twist ourselves into pretzels and contort ourselves and to try and look for the good in people's hearts, or, you know, no, they care about this country too. Like, let's, you know, like, free ourselves from this idea that they are owed any benefit of the doubt, that they are owed any fucking thing. Right? Like, let's free ourselves of this so that we can actually create the strategies and the plans about how to tackle the fact that we are not sliding into fascism, that it's here, that we are not, that maybe things aren't racially tinged. No, they're just outwardly fucking racist. They are white nationalists that are running this fucking country, and they are doing so without care for anyone else because they don't have to, because the Supreme Court just gave them carte blanche to gerrymander the fuck out of this country and to gut the Voting Rights Act, and they don't need our voices anymore because guess what? They're backed by tech billionaires who also have their white supremacist, white nationalist aspirations, right? To take them from here to Mars. So folks, like, people need to be shaken awake here.
That's right.
The midterms are not saving us. You have fucking middle of the road Democrats like Newsom, who has done some good. He's also done a lot of fuck shit. And his fuck shit most recently now is saying that he doesn't agree with Mamdani when it comes to taxing billionaires. He's adamantly against it. Democrats are a big tent party with both views. Oh, the views that you get your money from the fucking extractors and the greedy billionaires so that you can go and have your dinners at the 5-star Michelin 5 restaurants in California, right? So you want to sit there and tell us like, oh, don't agree with Mamdani on affordability or caring for people. Let's instead continue to say we have this big, beautiful tent. Theirs is draped in fucking cashmere and silk while ours has holes in it. But you know, we're all under the same fucking tent. Newsom, I don't give a fuck what he thinks he's running for in 2028. One, I don't think we'll have presidential elections, but he sure as fuck will not have my vote. That is my rant. Waj, you have a few minutes.
No, that's not. That's, you know what? We predicted it. We said, gosh, I know it sounds terrible. We told you so. It's not meant to be a we told you so. What we've been saying on this show is there are litmus tests now for Democrats. And our prediction, knowing Newsom, because I'm from California, was he will not give up sucking at the teat of corporate America. You just saw all the affordability talk. You saw that that's where the people are at. You saw that's how you went over independence. You saw that that's how you went over disaffected MAGA, right? And still, yesterday, Gavin Newsom said, whoa, these billionaires, come on now, right? They will never, ever, ever give up sucking at the teat of the oligarchy, because the two enduring sins of America are capitalism and white supremacy. And what we said, the litmus test for the Democrat moving forward, the Democrat, right, who could take on MAGA, is, are they willing to go against the billionaires and the oligarchy? We predicted Gavin Newsom wouldn't from the horse's mouth yesterday. The other one that we said was, this is now a Gaza generation. Oh, there you go. Are they willing to call out Israel's genocide? Are they willing to call out Israel's apartheid? Are they willing to call out Israel's occupation? You cannot fight for democracy at home if you support fascism abroad. So 2 or 3 days ago, Miriam Adelson, who, by the way, gave over $100 million to Donald Trump, one of the biggest donors, that Miriam Adelson, right? Hardcore Zionist, anti-Palestinian, gave over $100 million to Donald Trump. The widow of Sheldon Adelson, she had a pro-Israel summit. Who decides to go to a pro-Israel summit? Hillary Clinton. And then Hillary Clinton doesn't blame Israel's genocide for radicalizing people. You know what she blames, folks? Tell me.
Young people.
TikTok.
Young TikTok and young Jewish people that she says doesn't understand the complexities of what is happening right in front of their fucking eyes on all of their screens. It was astonishing, astounding. You were not running for a fucking thing. So the fact that she still goes there to go bow before Netanyahu after 64,000 fucking children, I just murdered. And this is what Hillary Clinton is doing.
Because this is who
that
they
check must
are.
Be something.
No, this is who they are, Daniel. And I want people to know this. She chose to do it. This is what they think about the rest of us, about Palestinians, Muslims. I know some of you love Biden. He believed it. Him, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, they believe it in their bones. For Biden, everyone who I've talked to in the Biden administration, right, and people who've come out now, why did Biden bear hug Netanyahu? He wanted to. Why did Biden throw Palestinians under the bus? He wanted to. Why did Biden let them cross every red line? Because he wanted to. They are true believers. Now you tell me, you look at me and Danielle, after everything you've seen for the past hour, what they said about Somalis, what they've said about Haitians, what they've said about people of color, what they've said about me for the past year, what they're doing against Muslims, what they're doing against Palestinians, the oligarchy, where the people are when it comes to affordability. And you're seeing right now Hillary Clinton go out of her way and blame TikTok and the youth, not Israel's genocide, and Gavin Newsom still suck the teat of the oligarchy. And can we finish on the Hakeem Jeffries? Do we have the Hakeem Jeffries?
Yep.
If you think we're crazy. Let's just bring 3. There you go. 1, 2, Danielle, 3.
Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries. So I'm going to do this very quick. Hakeem Jeffries, right, decided to cheer on Donald Trump's recent pardon of a Democrat Henry Culler, who was up on corruption charges, and said that it was thin and he wouldn't have been convicted anyway. And so he goes, I don't know why the president decided to do this, but I think that the outcome was exactly the right outcome. Step aside, Hakeem Jeffries. Step aside, Hillary Clinton. Sit down, Gavin Newsom. Your services are no longer needed. Your ear is not to the ground. You do not care about the American people. You do not understand what is at stake in this moment, right? You still are playing by 20th century rules. We're done with you.
We're done
are
with you.
Done with you.
We need a new generation of leaders. And I appreciate Danielle. We were supposed to end at 1, but let's go 1 more minute. And I'm going to bring on Crystal Ball, and then Danielle's going to promote herself. These are the type of leaders that we need. If the president can go after one person, not just one individual, but somebody who's a sitting member of Congress, what will he do to the average person who doesn't have power, who doesn't get to walk around the halls of power, who doesn't have people coming to their defense? I think an attack on Congressman Ilhan Omar is an attack on every single immigrant across the nation. Thank you, Minnesota State Senator Zainab Mohammed. And Ilhan Omar has been thrown under the bus by Chuck Schumer repeatedly. Furthermore, Zohran Mamdani, brown man, Muslim, child of immigrants, as Gavin Newsom, that piece of shit, and Hakeem Jeffries and Hillary Clinton are sucking up to power, Mamdani, more than 2,500 Starbucks workers are on strike. They're demanding dignity, fair pay, safe conditions, a contract that respects their labor. It's time their voices are heard at the same volume as CEOs earning millions. That is the future. Folks, the people are throwing the woke under the bus, like James Carville and the never Trump Republicans, the Tim Millers and the Bulwarks and the centrists. They're done. I'm telling you right now, we're done. They hijacked 2024. They hijacked the Kamala Harris campaign. They wouldn't even invite a Palestinian on the stage. I'm done with them. Danielle, I think you're done with them.
Done.
We're done. Gavin
Done.
Newsom, you ain't never becoming president. If
Nope.
you are, we're going to make your life hell. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat. I'm done with this. I don't want restoration. I want reformation. If you're not willing to fight against a Nazi, if you're not willing to stand up against a genocide, then how can you protect me and my family from fascists at home? You can't. You're complicit. I'm done with you.
Bravo. Amen. Folks, this has been another episode of Democracy-ish. We ask you, we implore you to like, comment, and subscribe. Waj and I do this for free. We are not backed by corporations. We are backed by people like all of you. So we thank you so much for the super stickers and the super thanks. Ernst, Kathy, Susan coming in strong as our moderator and with money. Demetria, Ghostface Killer as always. RMC giving us pounds as always. Julie, Zoe, Mona, Ernst again, Spring, huge. Thank you so much. Conway, Linda, Jack, Tiger Claw, Susan again, and Soka Deb for gifting a membership. Waj, tell them very quickly, you are running a special on your Substack right now. Just please tell them so that they can go.
Everything is for free for the next couple of hours, but I might re-up it. Is this special that I had because people appreciate it. Most of the people who are on the left hook, it's free. It's all no paywall, but it's the terrible, horrible, anti-capitalist Black Friday sale, 25% off. I put the link in. I'll put the link in later in our write-up. It's $350 a month, $38 a year. We do this all independent, and so many of you took advantage of that. So thank you so much. It goes a long way. And Danielle is also running a special, and Danielle also is on YouTube. So be a subscriber. If you guys don't have money, please just become a free subscriber. But Danielle, talk about what you're promoting.
Yeah, I'm running a 20% off sale on my Substack, The Damn Digest. As you know, all of my content is free, but for those that do have the resources, I am extending my holiday sale until Christmas Eve. So give the gift of resistance if you have the ability to do so. If not, folks, just do us a solid. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share this as far and wide as you can. Subscribe to Waj's YouTube, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you can, become paid subscribers and paid members of the channel. We appreciate you all. We will be back on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as Waj says, don't be a fascist. We will see you back here Monday. Appreciate you all.